Aitzpachil, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Daily Tribal Sovereignty Report. My name is Aaron Thomas. My hereditary name is Hauhitan, and this morning I'm breaking down the top policy battles, regulatory oversight, energy rights, and cultural sovereignty across Indian country. Here are your stories for today, Friday, July 31st. Can you believe it? The end of the month is already here. And what's already here as well is a paddle to Nisqually 2026 hits the host's waters. Dozens of canoe families from across Washington, British Columbia, and Alaska have spent weeks traversing open waters for the 2026 Paddle to Nisqually under the theme Healing Through Our Waters by honoring our ancestors. And today, over 70 canoes land at Sequalichu Creek in DuPont to begin 6 days of continuous potlatch protocol. Now, why it matters to tribes. The journey promotes community wellness, youth leadership, and spiritual healing through a strictly drug and alcohol-free tradition that revitalizes ancestral language, weaving, and carving. And why it matters to sovereignty. Canoes assert historic Coast Salish marine highways. Yes! Thank you, Lummi Nation, the rest of the Coast Salish community, by following ancestral protocol, raising paddles to request landing permission. Tribes practice continuous self-determination and honor treaty rights. So good luck to all of you up there. Please stay safe on the waters and have a great, great time. If you've never been to one of the paddles, please make sure that you mark your calendars for August of next year and make sure you get to go there. In other news, protests are growing over proposed Section 106 rule revisions. Federal proposals to amend Section 106 review rules under the National Historic Preservation Act have sparked heavy pushback from National Association of Tribal Historic Preservation Officers after stripping text that recognizes tribal expertise in identifying historic sites. The opposition? Federal agencies argue the changes streamlined administrative timelines for large-scale infrastructure and clean energy developments. But why does this matter to tribes? Bypassing historical reviews risks physical destruction of sacred ancestral sites and burial grounds. Why does this matter to sovereignty? Removing explicit government-to-government language demotes tribal nations from distinct political sovereigns to simple public advisory groups. And in other news this morning, the Indian Gaming Association has flagged an August 4th Senate Indian Affairs Committee hearing examining prediction platforms like Kalshi, which the CFTC permitted without federal tribal consultation. The opposition. Financial prediction lobbies argue these platforms offer commodity hedging mechanisms distinct from classic sportsbooks. Now, why this matters to tribes. Unregulated digital platforms siphon revenue directly away from tribal casinos, cutting off funds used for reservation healthcare, housing, and public safety. And why it matters to sovereignty. Tribes hold legal binding gaming compacts with states. Bypassing state tribal compacts via federal agency overreach breaks the U.S. government's core trust responsibility. And in other news this morning, the Bay Mills Indian Community President Whitney Gravel detailed on Native Badaske the growing coalition fighting Enbridge's Line 5 pipeline beneath the Straits of Mackinac, following recent state permit approvals. The opposition? Enbridge asserts that shutting down the pipeline will disrupt regional fuel distribution and spike Midwest winter heating prices. Now, why this matters to tribes. A pipeline breach in the Straits would destroy treaty-protected Great Lakes fishing grounds that feed local Native families and sustain tribal fisheries. And why this story matters to sovereignty. Tribes ceded land while explicitly retaining hunting, fishing, and gathering rights. Protecting the water is a direct enforcement of federal treaty law against corporate interests. And in other news this morning, Dartmouth College officially launched its $5 million Tribal Sovereignty Institute for Policy Research, while Motorola debuted an Indigenous Collections app integrating native Ojibwe keyboard presets into smartphones. The opposition? None. Both initiatives would hold broad institutional support, and this matters to tribes because it equips Native youth with policy research tools and keeps language accessible in modern digital life. And in other news today, talking about severe desert heat and plain storms. The extreme heat warnings are above 105 degrees are impacting Navajo Nation, Hopi tribes out here in Southern California. They're triggering local cooling centers, and the Northern Plains. Severe storms threaten crops, and simultaneously, as we continue on, just make sure that our elders and our pets are all taken care of, especially our youth, during this time of the year. All right, another news today, the FBI and the BIA deployed active MMIP field surges under Operation Not Forgotten. Now, again, this is a great story. We want to make sure that the BIA and the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Unit does the best they can to try to help crack some of these cold cases of so many of our people that gone missing and murdered. So good luck on that Operation Not Forgotten. All right, you guys, that'll do it for today. This is Friday. I will not be with you the next few days. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it as much as you can. Stay cool, stay protected, stay grounded in treaty rights and community strength. And again, if you've not yet clicked that like button or share or subscribe to this podcast, you can find this on anywhere where podcasts are being deployed, like Apple or Spotify and Amazon. So please take a look at that. And again, thank you so much for joining me this morning on the Daily Tribal Sovereignty Report. I'm Aaron Thomas. Howhetan is my hereditary name.